the corner. And by the way, next year, which is 2025, we are going to be having the primaries, NRM primaries, and primaries for all these other parties that would want to really select their members to represent them in a given position. So all that is quite interesting, and it is what we're going to majorly put our focus on, which is that kind of landscape. So, you know, to discuss that, it is really someone who must have an experience or a background of politics here in the country, and that is our own Professor Christopher Lwanga, who is the head of documentation and research at the Uganda's People's Congress. You are most welcome once again. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Family TV, issues on hand. I'm happy to be here to discuss some important national issues which everybody is keen to understand. But before I proceed, greetings from the party headquarters, party president, UPC fraternity in the country, East Africa, Africa, and in the greater diaspora. They are all tuning in and eagerly waiting to participate. Yeah.
Interesting. We are really great, happy, and of course honored to have you here in the morning. So, before we start, I understand at most every person must have known, or you must have seen, or you must have seen what the first son came out and said, that no civilian will be able to take charge of the country. It is only the military. And later on, he gave a declaration that he therefore endorses the president. You know, there are so many hearsays from people out there that he is the one. Even his political force, which is PLU, that he is the one coming in for 2026. But well, he came out and said no, the Lord wants him to focus on the army, and then he endorsed his father, or the president, Yoweri Museveni. But most importantly, the biggest topic here, what I wanted us to first put focus on, is no civilian will take over Uganda. What does such a statement mean to a country like Uganda? Before we go to him as a person.
Repeat it again.
No civilian will be able to take charge. So it is like from him, from the father, it will be any other person, but in the forces, not a civilian.
I think that statement is very much regrettable and very much unwelcome, given our historical background and even contemporary politics. As a country, as a region, as a continent, and as a world community. If I'm to take you a little bit further, when our founding fathers across the continent sat, thought hard, imagined, came up with action programs of decolonization and independent struggle, our wonderful soldiers in the colonial army were doing their routine work. They did not imagine that nationalism. They did not imagine that Pan-Africanism. They did not have that focus. They were doing their royal soldierly work.
Okay.
And indeed we got the independence with those people who sacrificed, who imagined the Kaundas of this world, the Obotes of this world, the Musazis of this world, the Kenyatas of this world. You don't hear in any soldier. Okay?
Sure.
Such that when now they managed to secure the independence and we started moving on that rapid speed to compensate for the lost time of colonialism, some elements, external elements, conspired with internal elements and started floating in army men. Who's happened in Ghana, Togo. Togo, I think, was the first to have such a type of coup where Sylvie Olympia was even assassinated. Then Congo DR had Lumumba removed as the prime minister. Then Ghana, Nigeria, all of them, okay, had this experience It is, I think, Gene Kanapule of Sekuture which survived it. But they had all these Sudan, what they went into flames under the hands of army men. And it became now a tug of war to uproot the army men from leadership. Okay? Now, in Uganda, it was bloody to remove Idi Amin. And we had to have so many players who helped. Big countries which helped to uproot Idi Amin. But by the time they uprooted Idi Amin on 11th April 1979, Uganda had received the worst of it. And indeed, we are now starting to address Amin's legacy fully, how we can come out of it. Such that from that time they said, no more army men, no more active soldiers to take us in the, to lead us. Okay? Until from nowhere, Okero and Okero, they came in. Again, there was an outcry to switch them off. So from that time, when the people from the bush came and took over the government, they sat and agreed to form a constituency assembly, which constituency assembly discussed a constitution and which was delivered just near here, near the Constitutional Square, which was formerly State Square. And in that constitution, they went a little bit further to enact even some specific guidelines that, okay, we agree that we have our citizens who are soldiers. But if they want to do active politics, they should leave the uniform in the barracks, the gun in the barracks, and they come out as retired soldiers or officers. Now, in this context, our brother, our son, our leader is talking when he's ignoring that detail. That detail does not only tie a serving soldier, it also ties a civil servant. It also ties anybody who is working in any government establishment. It ties him, because at the end of the day, politics is persuasion. Politics is winning arguments. Okay? You cannot be putting on that uniform and you go for such a game, because I will be ready to out-reason you. I would be ready to cause issues for you. And that now means that if you are looking at it from a selfish point of view, that I can take that narrow path, advance such an argument, push through that we are the one who coming, we are fortifying this thing, okay? It means that in English they say, where there is a reaction, you expect an effect, okay? In history they put it that like, where there is a cause, there is a cause and there is an effect. So following any of those footpaths or pathways, you are bound to have others also trying to talk the same language or a different language like yours. Okay? So in such a situation, the ground starts warming up. And when the ground starts warming up, it becomes very, very difficult for you to control and to manage it. So when such a statement is issued, it is issued in a wrong place and at a wrong time. And it calls for immediate response from the three institutions which constitute the government. Because the judiciary has its role in the government. And when that statement is talked, is it backed by the judiciary? It is not. And it has far-reaching ramifications. It is as if you are telling the judiciary, either I will amend the constitution or I will overthrow the constitution. Yes, that is the implication. Okay. Then at the same time also the executive. Okay. The executive has laid down protocols. Even where it is catered for that in an event that the chief, the fountain of honor, is in trouble, the number 2 takes over. Okay? Now, when you issue that statement, where are you putting the executive? Okay? Where are you putting the executive? Does it exist or it does not exist? Or you are ready to ignore it? Okay? Then
but do you think he has, where do you think he gets the, can I say, the authority or mandates to issue out such a statement?
Yeah, but before we go to that, consider the other third arm, which is the National Assembly, Parliament, who are always enacting laws, always doing supervisory role. When they hear such a statement, okay, when they hear such a statement, where does it put? Okay, that is another aspect. We appreciate the Electoral Commission, which is always very sensible and very tactical with their roadmaps. They have already issued a roadmap. In the roadmap, they have not put there any provision of that nature. Okay? Now, where do you want to put the Electoral Commission? Okay? That is now on the side of the government. Come to our side as political parties who fought so hard to ensure that we restore multi-party elections. You tell us that we shall not have our leaders to elect them from our circles, and they come from the other end. Where is that political party? Where are you putting the spirit of iPod? So all of these things come in before even you look at who has issued that statement.
Looking at the political parties, I think it is only NRM and ANT that have, can I say, officers leading them. Where does this leave these other civilian-led political parties?
No, but these officers retired officially from the army. They retired officially from the army.
It is okay.
Yes, they retired officially. Our fountain of honor is only functioning like any other civilian would have functioned if you are the commander in chief.
Okay.
Otherwise, he retired from the army. He's not supposed to report on a daily basis to his commander. Okay, he's not. Equally, the same thing, the Alliance for National Transformation, aunt of Mugisha, also he retired. This is the same thing with the FDC Katonga. Besige also equally retired. And we have so many of these retired people, by the way, on the continent. And if our brother, if Uganda is to come out of this sort of situation, I appeal to them, they can even benchmark Tanzania. Because Tanzania has one of the best examples which we should do, emulate. Okay. Where they have some of these best examples is that if it is the politics, their founding father Nyerere managed to do transition. Okay. Which transition has held the ground, has delivered. Then in the mix of the things, he had a very senior army officer, okay, who was very keen to play politics. And this happens to be His Excellency Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete. Okay, he's a part of the Tanzanian People Defense Army, which chased Amin from Kampala here. He was a Mukombozi. Now, since he developed ambitions for politics, he retired from the army as a lieutenant colonel, and then started serving in the government, in the party, and as he was getting exposed, and the various ministries served like economic planning, he served like mineral, mining ministry, he served even foreign affairs ministry. And he was always a member of all the key party organs of Chama cha Mapinduzi. Okay, he was being prepared. Now, when he wanted to take over after Nyerere, he was told, please, Nyerere telling Jakaya Kikwete that personally the mainland Tanzania has ruled for those good years continuously. Now there is a need to look the other side. Can you hold on a bit? Okay. And as they looked to the other side, that is when they fished Ali Hassan Mwinyi, the late, may his soul rest in eternal peace. Then as Mwinyi performed and his time ended, still Nyerere felt that Jakaya Kikwete is still a very younger man with more opportunities. That is when they brought in Mukapa, who had worked also very long in the government and in Chama cha Mapinduzi. And when I was thinking he was even a foreign affairs minister, Mukapa, at one time. When they brought in Mukapa, and Mukapa did whatever he did, completed his term of office, now it was very ripe to bring Jakaya Kikwete Mulisho. And Kikwete took over with all accumulated experience in army, in government, and in the party. Okay, he was a complete player whom you could not doubt. And even when he retired in 2015, everybody was interested to have his services again. And that's how he ended up being a chancellor of Dar es Salaam University. And we own so many bodies in the region, okay, and is contributing greatly. Now, if our brother, if our son is having that interest, let the system create such opening. Let us study how Jakaya Kikwete moved from the army, worked in the government, nursed his political ambitions within Chama cha Mapinduzi, and reached there and changed the ball. And the language he used, he simply handed over to Magufuli. He did not say, I have some generals I fought with, or we worked with. Okay? It did not come that way. If it goes that way, it causes a lot of problems. Because the ruling party, that is NRMO, started with the 10-point program. And within the 10-point program, democracy is one of the tenets. Though democracy is difficult to achieve in one day. Then the 10-point program was expanded to 15-point program. Later on, it was now narrowed to 4. That is social transformation, patriotism, Pan-Africanism, and democracy. This is where it has been narrowed. Okay. When those are the tenants, they don't create provisions for serving soldiers, officers to jump in. Okay. They don't. Those core values. If you could broaden any of those core values, it would be of great interest. He should benchmark Tanzania very much, and even a bit of Nigeria. It also gives this explanation, especially if we studied Obasanjo.
Okay. Now, looking at what has been transpiring in the political space, we had Mohoz, specifically General Mohoz, showing interest in the 2026 polls, but this time around he has dropped it, and he's not going to appear on the ballot paper. What would this mean? And actually, his supporters and that had much hope of him coming in 2026.
Maybe I have become an old guard, an old player. I don't agree with the way most of these things are done. If I'm to take you back, I think it was in this very, very studio where I said, the path our brother is taking, whether MK Ame, whether PLU, it is a wrong path. If he wants to make it, he has to engage the entire establishment of the ruling party.
It doesn't seem to be in good terms.
Yes, once he engages it, it is that establishment which is supposed to bless him, which is supposed to inform Ugandans that Ugandans, where you are seated, we have just had the unexpected meeting of such and such composition. We are now flagging off this younger man with his outfit to help drum up support for the ruling party. And because of that, that is going to be talking politics, not army orders. We have also secured his leave from the army. Okay? Once it is done that, like that, blessed by the entire key party organs which makes their decisions, it makes him to go out with a message which has been blessed. Okay? But I did not see that happening. What I saw was the start of birthday parties across the country.
Yes.
Okay? And one would wonder, one major birthday party, isn't it enough, which should have a national representation? Okay? That one was up to the players to understand it and carry it forward and refine it further. Then from there, what we heard that, wait at the museum, Kamocha, we are going to launch something. What was launched, I think, was MK Army. I said, but I'm having a problem here. What of this army tag? Army tag. Are Ugandans so much comfortable with the army tag? Okay? Because Ugandans has shifted. We started with Uganda Army, Uganda Defense Forces, NRA, then UPDF. Now you are having something, army. It did not add up. Then from there, what did we hear? We have converged in Masaka. We have launched PLU, Patriotic League of Uganda. Now, most of these things, they become very, very difficult to account for and even to move forward because of the manner they are done. Okay? Like now, much as these modern means of communication have come, Twitter or what, you expect, okay, such a decision to be announced, to be taken in full view of your outfit you organized. Okay? In a full view. Okay? And with a very strong document. Okay? But we did not see any of that. Instead, we are dealing with issues from social media and the mainstream media. And yet it is a key event. Okay? It is a key event which we should not doubt. Okay? It was supposed to have been spoken in full view of his members. And it was supposed to have given a direction to the members. Whether to lie low, or to be active, or to wait for Chadondo, or to wait for electoral commission. Okay, such that there is no doubt in mind of what is coming next. Okay, and it would even have given his followers a chance to contribute, to brainstorm about that statement. Unfortunately, I participated in two talk shows, and there was a person who was peddling that statement. But since I did not come in to address it, I feared to be diverted. But this is a fellow panelist whom I heard on one of the media houses on Saturday. Then on Sunday, in our face, he advanced it. But the reason is he was advancing are different. He was saying, we are tired of leaders who can even get scared of an artificial bullet. Okay? Whether it is a rubber bullet, whether it is what. So now we need people from a background of prison, of army, of police. Okay, so for us who worked very hard to restore rural politics, multi-party politics, we've really felt offended on the behalf of the Ugandans when such a statement was being uttered by a fellow panelist. Okay, so I really could not address it at that time because even the opportunity did not come. But since you are inviting me here and to address it, I really plead to the advisors, especially political advisors of our younger men, to try, okay, to see how they can do things in a better way.
Oh, wow.
This statement, if it was issued in Nambole, in the midst of his supporters, it would have given them even momentum, and they would even have seen clearly beyond 2026. Okay? And they would even have now advised, can you remove the attire very fast? Can you go and start as a councillor? Can you go and start as a member of parliament? Can you go and start as a minister? Those would be the lines now they would be throwing in.
All right. Well,
yes.
Thank you so much, Professor. We are going in for a very short break. This conversation continues. Of course, we have to see and understand what the political landscape is like. And of course, talking about the major highlights in the country right now, majorly talking about General Muhoozi's statements and also his intentions for being the president of this country. Well, we will be back after the short break.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives. Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
Oh yes, comfort and luxury at its best. That is Protea Hotel by Marriott in Entebbe. We are still talking about Uganda's political puzzle ahead of the 2026 general elections, and of course, yes, it is quite tensional. We've been talking about General Muhoozi so much, and I think we should conclude maybe with the petition that has been put up, and that is by Gawaya Tegule, who has petitioned the positions, the appointments of the three people, all from the first family, and that is, of course, the First Lady, who is the Minister of Education and Sports. We have General Salim Saleh, and also we have General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. That, according to the petition, according to Tegule, says now the country is now being run as a family enterprise. What is your say about this kind of petition?
But things of law, they say once they are being tabled, you don't need to comment much. But though they say justice delayed is justice denied, such type of things require some degree of vigilance. We are almost coming to the end of this term of office. One would wonder, where was Tegula? These appointments have been there. They have not just come in today. And we are certainly coming to the end of it. And wherever there are appointments of that nature, most of them are confirmed through Parliament. So you might find that it is the Parliament which must be questioned, and the Parliament also has its own reasons or issues. However, you must say that every Ugandan deserves a right to be employed. Okay, deserves a right to be employed, and more so when you qualify. And then at the same time also, the government has put up a commission, Equal Opportunities, a sort of Equal Opportunities Act, where everybody is treated equally. So I believe that those other key institutions of the government were supposed to have not any anomaly if at all it was there. However, let me also say this. Dr. Apollo Milton Obote, during the second term of office, he preferred to take his children to Nakasero. I mean to Namasagari, where Father Grimes has died, and I think the body will be repatriated to Uganda. And the argument that was being said, or he was putting up, that there are so many children of the poor who would need government schools. In this context, once I take my children to Namasagari, I create more room for the poor, okay? And in most of those periods we have had, members who were closely related to the leaders were not making so much public appearances. Okay, and where they were making public appearances, it was not always for bad reasons, it was always for good reasons. However, we need to put into the context that Ugandans now are reflecting much on what was being said in the 10-point program. The 10-point program said we have come to improve things better from the previous leadership. And now they are seeing some things are not as perfect as they are supposed to be. And they are bringing talking points or talking issues. I would love to read the entire petition and get its full context. Okay? But if it is that context that some people have been favored very much, I think it may go back to the Parliament it may go back to the appointing authority to reflect on it. Okay, to reflect on it. That can be my simple comment, but I would love to read the full text of it.
All right, now as we prepare for 2026 general elections, we are having FDC Katonga suffering with securing the name of their political party, which is suggested to be PFF. What, first and foremost, the split itself, where does this leave the opposition?
First and foremost, the split is a very regrettable thing. However, they can make the best out of it, out of the split. We have had a very shining example of Jacob Zuma. He split from the mainstream ANC and formed Mukonto Wensuze and went in the race and secured, I think, third position in the race. And after securing such a position, of course, he affected the fortunes of ANC. And for the first time, ANC lacked a clear-cut majority. Also, Malema of AFF, Economic Freedom Fighters, split directly from ANC and is now a recognized political party in parliament. That is where the split is working. But it is working at the disadvantage of ANC, and ANC's fortunes have been shrinking. Now,
we're looking at FDC, which already lost numbers.
Now, when you look at FDC, first and foremost, it was the main political opposition party in parliament. It received the first split of the Federal Alliance of Honorable Olive Betty Namisango Kamya. Then from there it received another major split of Aunt Mugisha Muntu. Which was very unfortunate. And from the time Mugisha Muntu moved away, ANC came now to lose the main opposition political party position. And as they were settling it down to announce the laws, to know the adjustment they must make, another split comes in of Katonga. It certainly weakens the mainstream FDC at Najanankumbi, and it also equally weakens the mainstream, I mean the splinter of Katonga. Now, as I have been talking, FDC, whether it is of Katonga, whether it is of Najanankumbi, it is high time they sobered down and sat down and asked a honest question with a honest answer. Where is their stronghold? If they can answer that one, it will be very helpful for them to repackage their politics. If the stronghold is in Bugisu, let them go and pay homage in Bugisu and rearrange themselves that come rain, come sunshine, nobody will uproot us from Bugisu. Whatever we are going to do, we are going to build from Bugisu. Not Najanankumbi, not Katonga, in political terms. Okay? But now FDC, it seems, is not very keen to address that issue. And the more they don't address that issue, this wind you are talking about of 2026, it can blow you overboard if you have not. For UPC we retreated, and we knew that concept, and we said, let us build ourselves, put even concrete where we are building ourselves, such that even if it is tornado which comes, it will break the buildings, but it will not break the ideological spirit of UPC. And from there, we can now move forward.
Yokasese was taken away from them.
Yes, because they haven't answered that. Okay, they haven't answered that. And once you don't answer that, you suffer. You suffer. And that is the fate which is facing Najanankumbi and even Katonga. Okay. Now, Coming to the new party they intend to form, I've been in active politics since I think 1990. My experience tells me that any political action must have a timing.
Oh.
Yes, must have a timing.
Are they out of time?
Yes, they're out of time.
Okay.
They shouldn't risk forming a new political party. They are out of time. How? Because the first question will be, why did you leave Katonga? I mean, Najanankumbi. It is very, very difficult to explain yourself with the remaining time. And what do you intend to do with us? They may even go for their boss. And they say, your boss was formerly a civil servant. Why did he leave civil service? Okay, you went to the bush. Why did he leave the outfit of the bush? Okay, was the reform agenda powerful? Why did he leave those things? By the time you explain those things,
it's already 20.
It is already, time has gone. However, politics has challenges, and challenges give you solutions. They can do a shortcut by merging with the people close, with the party close to them. And they lie low for some time, and they push on the agenda. They can merge with the party, negotiate some conditions that, please, we are merging. Can you allow our incumbents to be direct candidates? Because it does not affect the mathematics of whoever they are merging with. Because these are incumbents. MPs, they are having about 10 or 12. Can we merge? Okay. Once such a party allows them, then it is okay. And they can pull through. But to start a new thing, and you start that, this is a party we are representing, we are going to do this. You will be asked questions you cannot answer according to the time frame of electoral commission.
Okay, now let us look at the opposition.
Yes.
Right now we're having NRM,
yes,
and we have the PLU, which is a move,
yes,
majorly targeting the young people. And looking at these two now, does the opposition have any chance to take good positions? I remember someone said NUP is not going to get all those members of parliament it has gotten. Do you think opposition has that capability right now?
I think when I was starting here, I said I'm very much keen to see the leader of PLU meeting his people and issuing a statement. That is when you can gauge the real strengths of PLU. Okay. Whether it is on the ground or it is in the social media. Okay? That is when you can.
He usually does it on social media.
It does it on social media. Social media and the ground are totally different. Okay? So, I would not be so much scared or underestimate PLU basing on the social media. We want to see them in action.
Professor,
yes.
Let me ask, do you think the youth, the people who are behind the PLU, do you think they are part of NRM, or the support was garnered from all these other parties?
You see, I would say like this. I would say like this. I belong to Uganda People's Congress. You trace its history from Uganda National Congress, which was formed by Musazi in 1952, and then Uganda People's Union, which was formed by Resiba in 1958-59. Then in March 1960, there was a merger of the two political parties. From that time, UPC has remained intact, up to date. It is easier to follow that path they have moved. But when it comes to PLU, you don't know what is coming next. We started with the birthdays. Then we evolved to MK Army. Then we evolved to PLU. Okay, and as we are evolving there is a constant disclaimer that we are a civic organization. We are not yet a political party. We are a civic organization. So to say that the members of civic organization are automatically members of a political party and the UPC should start panicking, we don't panic like that. We can panic over NRMO because it is a political party with representation at all levels, even the highest office. But PLU does not have that representation.
Oh, yes.
Okay? And we haven't seen their people. Okay? They have remained amorphous.
All right.
Okay, you get it. It is very difficult to fear those. Okay? However, elections are normally formed by election matters. Okay? And now the election matters are mainly based from the constitution. For instance, UPC puts forward the issues of education, of health, and of the economy as key tenants. Now, opposition cannot fear to face this thing. Because as you even watch these elections we are going in for 2026, they are likely to be decided more by regional factors.
Oh, yeah.
And in regional factors, opposition political parties flourish. You saw how NUP flourished in the central region.
Yes.
Suppose another opposition political party flourishes in the east. Suppose another one flourishes in the north. And then we come back to the table, 50+1. That's why I think now you have started hearing that language of parliamentary democracy.
Okay.
Yes, because the presidential vote is going to become tricky.
But if the parliament decides to vote?
Actually, it is not the parliament deciding to vote. We simply go back to the Westminster, to the former model we used in 1950. 61, 62, 1980 elections. A party with the highest number of MPs is free to negotiate whatever arrangements, whom they can unite with, whom they can do what. And that arrangement, it becomes automatic, like in 1962. It was automatic that Obote has the highest number of MPs and therefore is the Prime Minister. Whom does he do a deal with? Semogere rejected the deal. KY accepted the deal. That is more or less the arrangement we are likely to go to. But to go for that arrangement, you must have prepared parties. Parties must be on the ground. Parties must be responsive of the needs of the people. Not these parties which remain in Kampala and in the rural areas, they are not there. There you are not going to have the best of parliamentary democracy. But parliamentary democracy would solve most of Uganda's problems.
Wow.
Yes.
As we conclude, Professor, briefly, just your last remarks.
My last remarks is that let us help out whoever has an interest to contribute to nation building, to contribute in it in a better way. If our younger man sees that he has a political ambition, his party, his family, the government must give him opportunities to perform. Must give opportunities to perform. In the similar way, political parties which are seeking registration or are seeking help here and there, either to address people, they must not be hindered. Because the contribution they are doing, it is not a selfish contribution. They are doing it for nation building. And the nation building needs political parties, needs politicians. From January to December, a political party must be articulating issues, must be recruiting, must be trying to retain supporters, though at the same time it loses. It is a big game where all of us we are involved. Wow. And then of course also I appeal to tension is to reduce. Tension should reduce, and we should follow institution laid down procedures.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Christopher Lwanga, who is the head of documentation and research at Uganda People's Congress, UPC, here, oldest, one of the oldest political parties, of course, still gearing in there. Yes, you've heard it, and yes, 2026 is around the corner. You have to prepare yourself, and please follow the guidance that has been put across by Professor, encouraging you to follow the guidelines stipulated by different institutions, specifically maybe the Electoral Commission and all that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. We appreciate you for joining us here today. We are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott in Entebbe. Very wonderful place.